Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
The Saratoga City Council meeting, an inside look at the decisions that affect you and our community.
Good evening. Welcome to the City Council meeting for August 18th, 2020. We have one public hearing tonight, and the public hearing is the 2021-2026 requested capital program. The capital committee has completed its ranking for the requested 2021 capital budget in the 6-year program. The full request is attached to the item on our agenda. The public hearing will be is this evening, and I will ask the council for a vote. If anyone here is tonight is to speak on that, please step up to the microphone. Please do not touch the microphone. There is tape on the floor where you should stand, and you can state your comments. So if you're here for the capital budget, please step forward. Are you speaking, Tim?
It's still here in buzz.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please don't touch anything, okay? Thank you. I hear it, yes, I do. We're working on it. We have it manually being worked on by my commissioner to my left. Mr. Technology. Okay. Anybody here for the capital budget? Okay, then I am closing that. And next on the agenda is our public comment period. Please, we will have a public comment period for a maximum of 15 minutes. I actually try to keep your comments brief, up to 2 minutes. I will let you know when your 2 minutes are up. Please be respectful to the speakers while addressing the council, and please address the council as a whole. If you would like to submit your comments in writing, you may do so by regular or electronic mail or by providing them to the city clerk. Written comments must include your name and address in order to be placed into the record. Anyone who wishes to make a comment at this time may come up to the microphone. Please, again, do not touch the microphone and state your name and address. Is anybody here for public comment?
Good evening, Council. My name is Sam Brewer. I live on the Gavin. I'm a long-term city resident. I just wanted to commend the council this evening on choosing the venue for public comment. It appears to be safe and allows appropriate first amendment expression of our residents of Saratoga Springs. In addition, the financial situation on a global level, as you continue to plan capital money budget and continue to plan budgets, I will say that the monetary base of the United States has doubled in the past 2 months, so that means we have twice as much money now than we did 2 months ago, and that's reflected obviously in the stock market. So as you continue to plan, you have to realize that things are going to get more expensive. The prices are going to lag monetary inflation. And so I encourage you to take that into. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, then we will be closing the public comment period and move on to our agenda. First on our agenda is a presentation, and it is for the capital budget. Our Deputy Lisa Shields will now take over. You're on, Lisa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You need to speak a little louder.
Does it sound like I'm talking into the mic?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just briefly for this evening, council, thank you for the time. We have met as a capital committee over the recent months. Attached to the agenda and also uploaded on the website is the full detailed requested capital program. What I just want to do really briefly tonight is a summary. So we have, as a committee, ranked about 18 projects for next year. So we budgeted for next year, requested for next year's budget, not including the water and sewer projects. The projects total in excess of $14 million, most of which would be bonded. The next two slides will show you the order of ranking of these projects, and for the 18 projects that are not in the water and sewer fund, that they total in excess of $12 million, as you can see, and the Eastside EMS station is at the top of the list. As you'll see, also the projects in yellow and the darker yellow are those projects that earlier this year they had been funded for some amount in the 2020 budget, and when we did our initial cost cutting earlier this year because of COVID, these projects we removed from the 2020 bonding. So the project, I'm just highlighting those. They're now back into funding for 2021. Most of these are infrastructure and equipment projects outside of the EMS station. These are the water and sewer projects, ranked 1 and 2 in each case. And attached to the copies of these slides that I provided you are also more detailed out years for these projects where there are expenses through 2026. So I just pulled a couple of those slides from the full package, which is again attached to the agenda and uploaded on the website.
Great, thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions from the council?
We're going to have a discussion about this.
Yes. Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Deputy. Okay, we did have 2 executive sessions yesterday morning. No decisions were made from those. On to the consent agenda. I move to approve the consent agenda as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? The matter passes. On to the Mayor's Department. My first item is an announcement of the Executive Order 203 New York State Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative. The task force first meeting is scheduled for tomorrow evening, Wednesday, August 19th at 5:30 p.m. right here at the Campbell Casino. The public is invited, however, due to the governor's current limitations on gatherings we will allow approximately 30 people in on a first-come, first-served basis. These meetings will be videotaped and placed on the city's website within 24 hours of the meeting. These meetings will follow the COVID-19 safety protocol. So please, if you're interested, we will have that meeting tomorrow night at 5:30. My next item is another announcement for the Unified Development Ordinance UDO project update, and I'd like to ask our City Attorney, Vince DeLamartis, to give us an update. Thank you, Max. Thank you.
Council will recall that in February of this year, the draft one of the UDO was presented both to the City Council and the public. It was then presented in multiple Q&A sessions and presentations by the mayors as well. Public comment was received, and it was continued to receive through the end of February. Those comments were then summarized to the City Council at the first meeting in March. It was expected at that time that we would have draft 2 available in April. The pandemic obviously played a wrench in that plan, but I'm here to indicate that staff has been working with the community to get those comments finalized, and we expect draft 2 to be available to the public during the week of September 14th. Commuters will be available to provide a presentation, but because of the ongoing pandemic and the effect that has had, as well as travel restrictions to commuters out of Chicago, we are anticipating that commuters' presentation will be done virtually via Zoom, and we're hoping to have a special City Council meeting via Zoom just for that purpose. After that presentation, like the last time, the public will be allowed an opportunity to provide comment. We will have presentations, Q&A sessions, both via Zoom and in live, because those will be governed by staff members. So we will facilitate those either here or the City Hall if it's open or some other location. But eventually that will then develop into draft 3. The public will have an opportunity to review that as well. Hopefully draft 3 is the final draft, but we are continuing to progress. So I just wanted to emphasize and reiterate that September 14th, that during that week, draft 2 will be available to the public.
Great, thank you. Any comments from the council? Great. On to my next item, and this is discussion and vote resolution in support of Saratoga Casino Hotel reopening. I'm going to read the resolution into the record. Whereas since it began as Saratoga Raceway in 1941, the activities on the grounds of Saratoga Casino Hotel have consistently benefited our city's economy and identity. They have been an immensely popular attraction for both our local citizens and year-round visitors. They have provided employment for hundreds of people every year and have supported New York's harness horse racing industry. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has closed the door of the commercial casinos in New York, Saratoga Casino Hotel has met the challenge responsibly. However, there is little guidance at this time and when a reopening might be possible. The Saratoga Casino Hotel has spent a great deal of time and resources in formulating a safe reopening plan that incorporates all the guidelines of the Center for Disease Control and the Department of Health. It provides for proper social distancing, air filtration, screening, personal protective equipment, cleaning and disinfecting of surfaces, capacity limits, and rigid employee and guest protocols. Now therefore be it resolved that this City Council hereby states in support of the Saratoga Casino Hotel reopening and urges the state authorities to give their fullest possible consideration to the reopening plan. So I move that the City Council adopt a resolution in support of Saratoga Casino Hotel reopening as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say that the Department of Public Safety reviewed safety protocols, and we were really impressed with the thoroughness and detail that they were given to keeping the guests safe, keeping the community safe, and felt very comfortable.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes. Thank you, Skip, for coming in this evening. My next item is announcement. Community Development Department now accepting applications for expanded economic development revolving loan program. The Office of Community Development is now accepting applications for its recently expanded economic development revolving loan program. Businesses with 10 employees or less that can demonstrate extreme financial hardship due to unavoidable and unforeseen emergencies, circumstances outside of the business owner's control, are eligible for a working capital loan between $5,000 to $10,000. Funding currently available for this program is approximately $205,000. More details on the application can be found on the city's website. My next item is a discussion and vote approval to pay invoice for COVID reimbursement of Zoom services. Thank you. I'm going back to my fourth item, which I skipped. That's a discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign amendment to second amended and restated declaration of covenants and restrictions of Stephen Ether. I move that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign amendment to the second amended and restated declaration of covenants and restrictions of Stephen Ether as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes. I'm heading back over to number 6, discussion and vote approval to pay invoice for COVID reimbursement of Zoom service. I move that the City Council approve payment of the invoice for COVID reimbursement of Zoom service as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes. My next item is discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign intermunicipal agreement with Saratoga County Animal Shelter. I move that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign an intermunicipal agreement with Saratoga County Animal Shelter as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes. My next item is discussion and vote 2021-2026 requested capital program. I move that the City Council approve the 2021-2026 requested capital program as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. We continue to see a decline in revenues, and we've seen that throughout the year as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so far, there's no federal assistance on the horizon. But I know that a lot of work goes into the capital budget, and it's more than just the capital budget, it's the whole capital program, where we're looking at, capitalized programs over the course of 6 years. So a lot of work goes into this, and I definitely want to thank everyone that's involved in putting the capital budget together. I know it represents a vision of expenditures for our city. But we have to make sure we've got revenues available to meet these plans, and finance is tasked with making sure that we can have the revenue to meet the plan. So typically, I think this is my 9th year, sitting through a capital budget presentation and getting ready to vote. And maybe 7 of those years I probably voted no, because we've had different mayors that I've worked with over my tenure, and a lot of them, we've had a disagreement on whether this is a requested budget, and the Commissioner of Finance has the right to make changes to the budget. Mayor Kelly has been very open with me about the budget. I believe understands and also sees this as a requested budget. I asked the rest of the council to see that because I want to vote yes and support all the work you did, but I do see it as a requested budget that may have to have some changes made to it as I get ready to present the comprehensive budget, especially in light this year of the decline in revenues that we've seen again throughout the year. and no federal assistance on the horizon, and we don't even know what's going to happen in 2021. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to thank the committee also, and my deputy Lisa Shields for putting this together. They've met several times, and it is a really tough time right now with COVID-19, and it was really difficult to do this. So I thank you all, and I thank you for your comments, Commissioner.
Again, I want to thank the committee for, I know it's a lot of work. I mean, for as many years as I've been here, it's probably the most difficult process because everything on the capital program is expensive. We always have to figure out a way to pay for it, and we have to work hard to keep our budgets in line and do all that. And I think we've done that over the years. This particular capital budget, in particular, there are two items that really stand out as far as I'm concerned. One is the tub grinder. The tub grinder is the tub grinder we have right now over the compost site is pretty much on its last leg. It's limping along right there. And if you don't know what a tub grinder is, what it does is when we pick up your leaves and your trees and stuff in front of your house, we take it out to the compost site and it grinds it all up. And then we put it in windrows and then it turns into the compost. We then put it into a screener, which we did buy a few years ago. And that's when we get our compost. Basically, it's a recycling program that the city started a number of years ago before I was here. But I can tell you, if we don't buy that tub grinder, then there's a very, very good chance, and I can tell you that there's no way that we can pick up the debris in the streets. As far as your leaves, your clippings, that sort of thing. So again, I don't know what we do if we didn't have. Again, it's an expensive item on the capital program at $669,000. I mean, that obviously is a lot of money. But again, the other one that we have out there now it's a number of years old. It was pretty much close to $400,000. This one here is a lot bigger machine. It can do a lot more. It can grind up tree trunks. So again, if we don't get something, if we don't get that, we can limp this one along. When this one goes, then we're out of business. The other one is the weed harvester. The weed harvester, you've probably seen that on up there lake. That one in particular, goes in and it cuts the weeds out there. It keeps the lake from choking out. And it's required by DEC that we have that out there. So those two, and that one there is on its last leg too. That one's getting hard to find parts for. And we put a lot of money into that one. And it just seems like, it'll spend, a few days out on the lake, and then it'll break down again, and we'll bring it in, repair it. It takes time to get the parts. In the meantime, the leaves don't stop. So again, those two in particular, and that one there's, I think, on the capital program, it's $166,000. Both of these, we did go out and we did do some research on it, and that's probably the best deal the city's going to get on either one of these projects. So, not for that reason. I know there's a lot of other stuff on this capital program. I'm going to support the capital program. I know there's going to be some give and take here. There always is. But it's frustrating, especially now, when we're in a situation like, with COVID. There's not a lot of revenue coming in, and I realize that. But, this is money that obviously we have to borrow. And this is money that's going to be paid back over a period of time. It's not money we have to pay back tomorrow. So, but if we don't get, in particular, those two. There are a few other ones out here too, which is like a dam. But those two in particular, I think it's going to be an issue for the residents. So, again, I'm going to support this program.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? Great. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The matter passes. Thank you all. On to accounts.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is discussion and vote approval of mold policy. The mold policy is a requirement of our insurance carrier. The policy has been vetted through the city's safety committee and taken from the EPA. Therefore, I move for the city council to approve the mold policy as distributed with this agenda. It's a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. The second item is discussion and vote authorization for mayor to sign a contract with Evergreen Architectural Arts, Inc. for the 77th Regiment Memorial. This contract is for the restoration of the 77th Regiment Memorial in Commerce Park that was destroyed. This claim is fully covered by the city's insurance carrier. Therefore, I move to authorize the mayor to sign the contract with Evergreen Architectural Arts, Inc. as included with the agenda, and that is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, Commissioner, I just want to thank Marilyn for helping us out on this one. Obviously, this is something that I'm going to do an update later on my agenda, but she did help out quite a bit to get that funding, so that's a good thing.
That's great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. The third item is discussion and vote resolution for electronic signature. Commissioner of Accounts is responsible to sign the warrant after passage by the City Council. This resolution keeps with the attempt to become more efficient and allows for electronic signature of the warrant. Therefore, I move that the City Council adopt the resolution for electronic signature of the warrant as included with this agenda. That's a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. The fourth item is discussion and vote purchasing policy and documents. I would like to thank all the departments for their help, suggestions, and input regarding the rewrite of the purchasing policy. One of the key changes to the purchasing policy is allowing of electronic vouchers and requisitions. Therefore, I move that the City Council adopt the purchasing policy and supporting documents as included with this agenda. That's a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The matter passes.
Item number 5, Mayor, polling this evening.
Okay.
We're just trying to get some more legal information.
Okay.
Number 6 is discussion and vote resolution to adopt record retention schedule LGS-1. The existing MU-1 retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records has been revised. The schedule's name is now LGS-1, whose schedule went into effect August 1st, 2020, and requires adoption by the City Council to put it into effect for the City of Saratoga Springs. Therefore, I move for the City Council to adopt a resolution included with this agenda that adopts the new LGS-1 retention and disposition schedule for the New York State local government records. And that's a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. And seventh and last item on the agenda this evening for the Accounts Department is award bid sanitary wastewater pump station upgrades to Kathleen Souza PE. Upon recommendation of the Department of Public Works, I move to award the bid for sanitary wastewater pump station upgrades to Kathleen Souza PE for an amount not to exceed $54,464. And that is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my agenda this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pennell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pennell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pennell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
On to finance.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, the first item on my agenda is an announcement, City and Community Mask Up Saratoga Springs campaign. The Department of Finance, or the Finance Department, in conjunction with a number of community partners, has been working on an awareness campaign, education campaign, in response to the New York State mask mandate and recent public health law amendment. The objectives of the campaign are to help increase business and revenue throughout the community by stressing the importance of wearing a mask, socially distancing, and regularly washing your hands to help mediate the spread of COVID-19 virus for the health and safety of our residents, our visitors coming into Saratoga Springs. Not the last council meeting, but the one before that, so I think the first one in August, we all sat around and had a discussion. I think it was Commissioner Frank who suggested, having been on some of his travels and my travels, everybody's been doing a little bit of traveling, that he had seen some signs in other communities. My deputy, Deirdre Ladd, and I spent a lot of time searching and looking at what other communities are doing. It is true. Many communities, especially throughout New York State, do have various signs posted about wearing a mask, referencing the mask mandate, wash your hands, and social distance. So the first phase of this project, we created a series of professionally designed signs with Saratoga themes, and they have been uploaded to the agenda. So if anybody is interested in seeing what they look like, click into that part of the finance agenda, which is again called City and Community Mask Up Saratoga Springs campaign. And you'll see 4 different signs. The second phase is going to consist of several, up to 15, maybe more, PSAs, public service and public safety announcements from various stakeholders throughout the community that will be, shot professionally, and then we will stream them over the next few months vis-a-vis social media. I'm really excited about this campaign and the positive responses that we've already received from city officials and community partners regarding the campaign's strategic direction. We have the Downtown Business Association, the Chamber, some business owners, various people were involved, Discover Saratoga, and we all kind of came to an agreement on sort of our look, feel, and theme for these signs. It looks like the signs will be ready Friday. That's what I'm hoping. And if so, we'll know by tomorrow, and we're going to plan a press event kicking off our Mask Up Saratoga Springs campaign. We'll get info out about that to the council and to the public. Make sure you're all invited, and potentially looking at maybe a Friday 1 o'clock kickoff, since I will be away next week. I don't know if anybody has any comments before I move on.
Well, I have seen these signs, and they look really fantastic. They're really theme-oriented, and I think it's really making a nice splash throughout the city, and really, I think it's well needed, and I want to thank Deirdre and your team for doing this. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I just also wanted to say that this was just a great team effort, and it was something that DPS really should have been doing, but we were completely overwhelmed, and so for Commissioner Madden to step up and volunteer to take this on was huge. It's just a great example of cooperation between the council, and the signs couldn't look better, and we're so happy, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you. I think they're going to become like collectors. Really, if you have a team that look at them, they're really pretty good. I'm mostly worried that, they need to stay in the ground.
Yeah, I think it is bad times. It brings up some humor.
Yeah.
Which I think is very well done.
Yes, thank you. All right, so item number 2 is an announcement, web and social media policy update. So finance reviews all finance policy procedure protocols annually. IT is a sub-department of the finance department. Current circumstances involving social media platforms and recent requests compel review and revamp of the city web and social media policies to ensure that we are using them securely, safely, and appropriately for the dissemination of city information. So we're going to start revising this policy, but the reason I have it on my agenda for this evening is that effective August 1 this month, I made it so that all comments on Facebook and Instagram, you won't be able to comment. If you try to comment, they will automatically be hidden. And that's how we used to do things until we did have a communications director on board who could actually monitor the comments, make sure the comments got off to the right department. We don't have that resource right now, so we don't have the ability to really monitor comments. And we are also getting a lot of members of the public sending us messages vis-a-vis social media. And we're not monitoring those messages. So what I did do initially, and I wanted to make sure the public knew this and the rest of the council, is on the main page, I made a statement that said if you really want to reach out to the council or you need to speak with somebody specific at the city, look at the city website because we have many contacts listed at the city website. Also, as a result of COVID-19 and the pandemic, I know the mayor's office has set up I think it's public.comment at Saratoga-Springs.org. Anyone who really wants to reach the council and all of the deputies, only needs to send us a message to that one email, and that will reach us. We all receive a copy of those emails. And of course, the public is invited to attend our meetings on the first Tuesday and third Tuesday of every month and address the council directly. While we may not be responding to you, we are listening to you, we are hearing you, and we are taking suggestions that you have for the council and for the city back and reviewing those things. So I did want to make sure that everybody was aware of those changes. You may be able to type in a comment, but it's not going to show. It's going to look as though it's been hidden. So, and we'll be back in touch, maybe at the next council meeting, maybe late September, with a full-blown web and social media policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item number 3 is an update 2021 city budget and city finances. I do this at every city council meeting. It's a little lengthy, but I've tried to cut it down as we go through each meeting. So here I go. Our current status. As COVID-19 has steadily increased again across the nation, in New York State, the average infection rate has been 1% or lower since June, and effective today, we are at the 11th straight day with infection rate at 1%. Below 1%, I should say. Yesterday, we had the lowest daily positivity rate since the beginning of the crisis, and that was 0.71%. States are restricting activities and closing businesses, but a lot of institutions, that shouldn't actually be there, sorry. As of Monday, the positivity rate for the capital region is 0.8%. There remains 35 states on the New York State Travel Advisory Notice Board. But New York is doing great, and there's this great quote from Governor Cuomo. Our success in this fight is determined more than anything by the actions each of us takes in daily life. Washing our hands, properly social distancing, and wearing masks, the themes of our Mask Up Saratoga Springs campaign, and by the willingness of local governments to be competent partners and to enforce state guidance. We continue to move in the right direction, but it's up to all of us to slow the spread and stay safe. Okay, at the federal level, Senate session was closed with little effective action, discussion, and no vote regarding stimulus for state and local governments. No action is expected until at least September. The parties remain profoundly polarized regarding funding for state and local governments. Federal action will ultimately dictate what New York does next, if anything. While things remain fluid, we cannot count on federal and state aid to balance our 2020 budget or assist us with our 2021 city charter required comprehensive budget that I'm due to present to the council and the public on October 6th. Downtown is certainly more populated than it has been since, say, early June, but revenue is not rising to former levels and cannot be expected to do so throughout the lifetime of the current pandemic. Sales tax collections for June trailed 7% behind last year in June, and year-to-date is down by 18.11%. So 18.1% we're down on sales tax. State aid and BLT have been reduced by 20%, and the same is anticipated for 2021. Occupancy tax is near zero at this time. We have nothing coming in with occupancy tax. It should improve as hotels open, but full capacity is not anticipated in 2020. Recreation fees are not being collected as the recreation sites have not really been open. Most fees are down as activity is sluggish and City Hall services have been slower throughout the employee furlough. A bright note, mortgage tax is running near 2020 budgeted amounts. So for city cash flow, from January to June, the city's reserves, assignments, and revenue collections diminished. In contrast, expenditures continued in accordance with the 2020 budget plan that did not account for this. Through May, we absorbed this using our fund balance. June was our first fiscal breakpoint. We had several millions in expenditures due, which nearly overwhelmed the amounts available in our cash balance, several steps were taken to remedy this situation. The immediate needs were covered by way of a $6.3 million tax anticipation note. It was bid competitively and awarded to Adirondack Trust with a 0.15% interest rate. This note must be paid in full in June of 2021. Department submitted expenditure cuts totaling $3.4 million. These have been taking effect and will continue to take effect through the end of the year. A furlough program was initiated and that ended on July 31st and saved about $277,000. Fund balance and reserves have been used where applicable. We have some reserves left, not much in fund balance, and hopefully we'll be able to use those in the 2021 budget. The city's next fiscal breakpoint will be November, December. It is projected that the ending balance after revenue collection and expenditure disbursements will not be sufficient to meet payroll and pay bills owed in November. The deficiency anticipated in the last month of the year is about $5.3 million. These deficiencies are cash flow shortages. This means that the city won't have sufficient cash to make payroll or pay its bills, which is different than just running a budget deficit, which merely signals that the city's plan has sort of gone somewhat awry, but usually we have fund balance sitting there if we actually run a deficit to cover any deficit spending. In the absence of any sign of federal or state assistance, finance is still considering several options, and as these options become more a reality, we're meeting with our bond counsel and fiscal advisors regularly, talking to them regularly. I will continue to update the council and the public about what we'll be doing to get through the rest of 2020. 2021 general operating budget, or next year's budget. The call letter was released on July 2nd. The call letter asked departments to submit their budget requests by August 11th and provided guidelines for doing so. By yesterday at noontime, all requested budgets have been received. We are required to adopt a balanced budget according to the city charter, Title 4, Section 4.4.6, which means that the total of anticipated expenditures must equal the total of anticipated and available revenue. Any reductions in revenue require equal reduction in expenses. Planning the budget for 2021 fiscal year is different than in years past. Usually we ask departments to provide their requests as well as their projected revenue estimates. Because we anticipate reduced revenues next year, finance projected revenues first in order to review what might actually be available for 2021 expense budgets. We provided each department with these amounts as well as what reduced department budgets should be based on projected revenue. It is clear that these parameters seem near impossible to meet given our current employee and service capacity expectations. No department actually met the challenge, including finance, though we did come the closest, meaning cutting the budget to where we asked you to present to us. Requested budgets are well over our projected ability to support them, and we do not, and at this time will not, have the cash in the bank to float that sort of deficit. Revenue for 2021 is currently projected to be about $7.8 million less than amounts estimated for 2020. Fiscal year 2021 general operating budget revenue is anticipated to total $40.9 million, which is 16.1 less than the $48.7 million budget adopted for 2020. I am considering a 5% tax increase, and that is included in the revenue projection of $40.9 million. And that is an estimated tax increase only. And I've gone over what the increase on a home would be with a 5% tax rate at council meetings. I'll do it one more time. $60 annual increase on a home assessed for $200,000, all the way up to $200 annual increase on a home assessed for $650,000. These figures demonstrate the contribution in actual dollars that taxpayers might be asked to help sustain the city of Saratoga Springs while it recovers from the unprecedented and once-in-a-lifetime experience of this sort of pandemic, the COVID-19 and novel novel of 2020. A 5% property tax increase would also require an override of the current property tax cap and a supermajority council vote. So I do not get to unilaterally make this decision. Only the council can make that decision, and so hopefully we will have support for that, or we will actually have enough revenue to work with. It remains to be seen if the governor will be revising this law to adjust to the economies of the pandemic. So the city council must come together to resolve the 2021 pandemic budget. Never have we needed to work together more on a budget. We are all frustrated and probably would prefer denial when it comes to the limitations we are facing. I know that I would, but we cannot. We must set the budget, the 2021 budget, by November 30th. This is something to think about. Even on November 30th or whenever we vote on the budget in November, it's not set in stone. A budget can, and with this budget in particular, will be reviewed every day through the end of 2020 and every day through 2021. We can amend it through the year and as the economy evolves, and let's hope that there is some federal fiscal stimulus that comes to us, and it will never be too late for that federal fiscal stimulus. If it comes in 2021, early 2021, so be it. We'll take it. We need it, and we are not alone. So I will continue to rely on the City Council to make this budget work for the citizens and taxpayers of the entire city of Saratoga Springs. This is not about an individual's department's needs or services over another department's. This is going to be about all of the needs of an entire city, and the Budget and Finance Department will do its level best to ensure a fair approach to what is before us as a council. In closing, requested budgets are being input, proofed, and returned to departments as soon as possible. Finance will continue analyzing revenue and will communicate with each department about what can be expected. The comprehensive budget will be presented at the first meeting in October, again, Tuesday, October 6th, I believe, with the first public hearing to be scheduled for October 20th. Budget workshops will be scheduled throughout October and through November. Departments, please keep in mind that we will be able, again, I keep saying that, to revise the 2021 budget throughout the 2021 year, and even the 2020 budget this year has been amended. In the meantime, we'll do our best for our citizens in the city, and I thank you all for your assistance and my long-winded, at every council meeting report, because I think it's important to talk to the council and the public about what's going on with city finances. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Mr.
All right. Item number 4 is a discussion and vote approval to pay invoice in the amount of $32,198 to Messick Cohen Wilson Baker Architects for City Hall renovations. Purchasing requests that council approve this invoice because it is for work completed outside the scope and cap of the contract, something that happens from time to time, especially on projects as large and as complicated as City Hall renovations and the Finance Department renovations. The renovation has been completed, much to my satisfaction. It is built to last, functionality has been increased, safety is improved, and it is aesthetically pleasing, and was designed with an eye toward historic renovation. I look forward to the public unveiling of all of City Hall and the Finance Department. The city is in the practice of paying its bills. We have a good reputation for doing so, so I'm going to ask council to approve this one. The Finance Department responded to all of the damage at City Hall from the August 2018 fire with adequate financing. Our Finance Department renovation uncovered years of disrepair that had to be addressed before the current renovations could be attempted. The floor in the front office was rotted, the drop ceiling was full of dust and thick black dirt and poor air. There was virtually no security measures up there, and all of that revenue that comes in through that front door, pretty much. Nor were there private spaces carved out for newly regulated employee groups such as for payroll and benefits. Using our fair and equitable purchasing procedures, Finance chose a reputable vendor that designed a scope of work prior to the City Hall fire that led to a complete renovation of City Hall and had to adjust to the circumstances presented after the fire. What was supposed to be an 8-month project for Finance, and with Messick Cohen Wilson Baker, turned into a 2-year-long project. And for reference, by the way, Messick Cohen Wilson Baker is the same vendor responsible for many of the beautiful renovations right here in our Campfield Casino. So to close, I'm a very satisfied customer and believe that the city should be proud of the outcome, not only of the Finance Department, but the entire renovation. City Hall finally looks and functions like a City Hall. We have done well by this historic building, created a decent space for citizens to conduct city business, renovated a building that the city can be proud of, and of course City Hall is a city-owned taxpayer asset that now has improved in value in many ways. With that, I would ask that we complete this vote. I move that the City Council approve payment of the invoice in the amount of $32,198 to Messick Cohen Wilson Baker Architects for City Hall renovations as included with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you. Item number 5 is a discussion about budget transfers and benefits. Lines 1 through 2 transfer funds funds for the administrative fee associated with the Public Safety PD Flexible Spending Account in the amount of $350. I move that the City Council approve the budget transfers benefits as included with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Item number 6, discussion and vote, budget transfers payroll, lines 1 through 2, transfer funds to cover an invoice for dues in the amount of 10 cents. Lines 3 through 4, transfer funds to cover designated city engineering services in the amount of $18,000. I move that the City Council approve budget transfers payroll as included with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 items on my agenda. The first item is a discussion and vote. This is authorization for the mayor to sign a contract with Kathleen Suzo, PE, for professional services for sanitary wastewater station upgrades. In mid-July, DPW solicited proposals for design and construction inspection services for the upgrade of 3 sanitary wastewater pump stations. The stations in order of priority are the Excelsior Avenue pump station, Quad 2, and Hackamore South. Out of 9 interested engineering firms, a local proposal for $54,464 is from Kathleen Suzo, PE. KSPE is a local firm from Lake George and is a certified MWBE. They will provide construction plans, cost estimates, and specifications to bid the project, construction administration, and inspection services. DPW electrician Dan Rancourt and his crew will advise KSPE throughout the project on necessary upgrade requirements. Therefore, I move for the mayor to sign a contract with Kathleen Suzo, PE, for professional services for sanitary wastewater station upgrades in the amount of $54,464 on the form of motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Second item on my agenda, just an announcement. It's an update on the restoration of the New York 77th Infantry Regiment monument. Following the vandalism of the statue, DPW reached out to the company with familiarity and experience restoring Zeke statues. Evergreen has restored 2 similar Civil War era Zeke soldier statues of the city's soldier from Congress Park. DPW initially looked into a replacement or reconstruction of the statue. Thanks to Evergreen's experience, the original statue will be able to be repaired. The original statue will be returned to Congress Park once it is repaired. The restoration process will include the inspection and analysis of the statue and its broken pieces. DPW is currently working with the police department due to an ongoing investigation and pieces of the statue that are currently being analyzed at the State Police Crime Lab. Evergreen will remove all salvageable pieces of the statue and bring them to their sculpture conservation studio in Maryland and experience a restoration treatment. This will include repairing the statue, installing a stainless steel armature, providing a new coating, and the installation of the statue back onto its base in Congress Park. And we tried to get a timeline for that. And again, with the investigation going on, there's still some parts down at the forensic lab at State Police. They have the parts. It could be a little longer, but roughly they said between 4 to 6 weeks once they get it in their possession. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. The replacement of the statue will be covered under an insurance claim, and we've been working with the Director of Risk and Safety on a claim submission. And again, I want to thank Maryland Rivers for helping us out with that. In addition, we've worked on new camera locations and camera coverage for all of Congress Park and its historic artifacts. Since the vandalism, a number of individuals and organizations have reached out to the city and DPW to offer donations in support of restoring the statue. My office has followed up with them and will discuss options for how they can help resolve this unfortunate situation. Again, this includes improvements to the statue and that area of the park and increased security camera coverage. So, guess in the end, we're going to get the original statue back, and, you know, and shame on the people who did what they did. It's unfortunate. We did get a lot of calls. There was a lot of concern from a lot of the you know, the military people in regards to that. It's just a shame that there's people have just lost respect for people's property, people's, you know, artifacts, whatever. But it's a shame. So I'm glad we're able to do what we need to do. Get it restored, get it back up in Congress Park, get some cameras on it. And along with some of the upgrades with some of the other cameras in Congress Park. But again, hopefully they, you know, through the investigation they'll be able to find the culprits who did this and you know, and prosecute them. So that concludes my agenda.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I think it's really amazing that they can restore that. I mean, with the damage that they did, so that is really exciting, and I appreciate all your work and doing the research and finding that out. It was really a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it, sir?
That
Okay, on to public safety.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda is the discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign a contract with Stalker Radar Applied Concepts. This is a contract for traffic speed message board signs, and this will be stationed at the entrances of the city, so we can remind people what the travel advisory and quarantine guidelines are in the city. I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the contract with Stalker Radar Applied Concepts. This is a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you. Second item on my agenda is discussion and vote authorization to mayor to sign amendment number 3 with Axon. This contract amendment is the police and park cameras, several of which needed replacing. Saratoga Springs Police Department was one of the first in the area to start using body cameras. We started that program in 2013. We have invested almost $400,000 in our body camera program alone, and currently use over 31,000 gigabytes of storage to store that camera footage. We also have in-car cameras in all of our police vehicles, as well as over 130 cameras throughout the city. So we take the camera program very seriously. We store it properly, we store it by New York State guidelines, and it's something we are quite proud of as a police department. So I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a contract amendment number 3 with Axon. This is a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The matter passes.
What's that? Yes. Item number 3 on my agenda is discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign an addendum with Huber Brewer Construction Company. This addendum is to correct a date in the Huber Brewer contract that the council passed on January 21st, 2020. The contract had an incorrect completion date of February 2020. This addendum will make the completion date of February 2021. I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign an addendum with Huber Brewer Construction Company. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
The fourth item on my agenda is discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign an intermunicipal agreement with the county of Saratoga. This agreement between the city and the county is to allow for the use of the county parking lot at the Woodlawn Avenue building for city employees. The county will be responsible for signage and maintenance of the lot, and this agreement will continue through December 31st, 2020, or the day the county closes the sale of the property. I just want to thank the county for working with us on this. We have a little bit of crunch right now in terms of employee parking for City Hall as we wait for the city center parking garage to open. And this really made a lot of sense because of its proximity to City Hall. And so I want to thank the county for doing this for us, and I want to thank DPW and Commissioner Saratoga for talking over with us and making sure this is the right fit for our employees. And I look forward to having a little more breathing room for everyone in the park when they are putting their work.
So I would just like to offer you a special thanks, Commissioner Dalton, for doing this. Thank you. I have noticed that parking is definitely becoming an issue in downtown, so this should be very helpful. And of course, a big thanks to the county as well.
Thank you. I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a municipal agreement with the county of Saratoga. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes.
Thank you. Fifth item on my agenda is an announcement with some information about our mask enforcement and the different avenues we look into as a city, mask enforcement. And I want to ask our city attorney, Ms. Leonardis, to come list some of the legalities that we're running into in terms of implementing and enforcement measures.
Yeah, you'll recall a couple of council meetings ago, we talked about the emergency rule adopted by the state Department of Public Health that amended Part 66 of the Public Health Law to basically codify the governor's executive order relative to wearing face masks, requiring all individuals when in a public place to wear a face mask. The issue associated with this from an enforcement perspective, if you will, is with regard to the exceptions associated with wearing a face mask. In other words, individuals under the age of 2 are not required to wear a face mask. Individuals who are unable to medically tolerate it are unable or are not required to wear a face mask. Individuals who are able to maintain social distancing are not required to wear a face mask. And individuals who are with other members of their own household are not required to either socially distance from those individuals or wear a face mask while in their presence. That results in a situation where when we see someone walking down the sidewalk not wearing a mask, they are not necessarily in violation of conflict with the Section 66 of the Public Health Law. So we do receive a number of inquiries and complaints about seeing individuals not wearing a mask and why we're not enforcing that. Police need a reasonable basis of suspicion to stop someone. They can't just presume that there is unlawful or illegal activity. So when a situation does present itself, it is something that they have as an available tool to enforce. And when a situation does itself, I don't think we will enforce that. But there are difficulties associated with that, and all should be aware.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will say the number of complaints I've gotten about reporting police coverings has dropped dramatically in the last couple of weeks, and I think that this campaign that Regiment is launching will really help to fill the gaps and make sure we are as healthy and cautious as possible moving forward. That concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. Supervisor Gaston has arrived, so you're on. Yes, please, thank you. You can take your mask off there if you want. It's up to you.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Can you hear me? Yes, you just can't touch it.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for your understanding. Our county meeting went a little bit late today. So the first item on my agenda is a COVID-19 update. We are still increasing by 2 cases every day. Our test positivity rate has had some ups and downs, but in general, I asked public health to do a check, and we are trending downward. So you can expect that there will be ups and downs depending on the number of tests in a day. But we are in general trending in a good direction, and public health is pretty happy about that. You may have also heard of an outbreak at the Kesselring site in Milton. The rate of infection at that site was consistent with that in the population as a whole. They are an extremely large employer in the county, so we can expect large numbers there. However, that outbreak has resolved. And we've also been in close communications with them as well. So I think in general, the county is trending in a positive direction. And I'm glad to hear that. Let's keep going with the mask wearing and trending in that direction. I'm sure we would all work to go to school full time again. The second item on my agenda is just a report from today's board meeting. One of the things that I voted against today was an alteration of the county auction process. Saratoga Springs does not participate in that, but the vast majority of supervisors chose to change our auction policy in a way that I feel would adversely affect county residents, especially given their financial crunch. In general, we also accepted a public health grant, and there will be a public hearing that I would post on my information regarding the increased prices associated with the biosolids facility that we're working along with Albany County. We're building some new technology that we haven't thought of adding before that will decrease the amount of waste that comes as a result of that, and there will be public hearings on that. The third item on my agenda, I'm going to read to make sure I have it correctly. As a result of the investigations into increased compensation at the county in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Chairman Ballin has appointed a committee to work with county labor attorneys to determine what, if any, disciplinary action should be taken against county personnel. This committee was appointed today. I have been recommended to the committee and appointed by the chairman, recommended by my peers, along with supervisors from Boston, Moreau, Clifton Park, Milton, Stillwater, and Northumberland. We look to investigate with labor attorneys what disciplinary extraordinary actions are necessary, and to act quickly so that the county can get back to our normal processes, as normal as you can get in the middle of the pandemic. And I would like to pull my hat on for this meeting. That concludes my agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other business from the council? I have one comment. I think we're 2 years out from our pirates. I knew we were close. That's good. So, any other business, council? Then we are adjourned. Thank you. Good night.
Public Affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.